out. Big Allen with the
Welcome to Vidane TV. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one more time and welcome back to Vidane TV. My name is Wes Rowdy Hogue, one of the voices here at Vidane TV. Alongside with me is Kyle Young. Kyle, it is great to have you here, as well as our man, Mr. How exactly do you say your last name?
Menifee.
Menifee, there we go.
Menifee, Dave Menifee.
Dave Menifee is here with us as well, calling some action. It is awesome to talk to you guys one more time. After racetracks have opened up, our lives kind of opened up, and Vidane TV kind of took a back seat to real life. But we are back here. We are back in action, calling some action here with NEP at Daytona. Kyle, how you feeling, buddy?
I'm doing absolutely phenomenal after spending my last 2.5 months in the real world announcing booth at the Thunder Mountain Speedway in Center Isle, New York. Back here in my bedroom. Maybe I should have left that part out. Announcing for Vidane TV once again. We are back, baby. Good to be here. I'm excited not only to be announcing, but to be here at Daytona. We got the season opener for the New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Busch North Series. It is going to be fun. 50 laps, Daytona International Speedway, season kickoff. We're going to be spending like the next 3, 4, 5 months, however long it is with these guys. I'm stoked. Let's do it. Let's go racing, baby. We're back. Vidane TV is back.
And we are here getting help as well from Mr. Menifee, Dave Menifee, that is. He's going to be doing some on-track reporting for us, calling our replays as well as helping us call the action. How you feeling there, buddy?
Man, I'm glad to be back. That's kind of hard to follow up with all that energy that Kyle just threw out there. But as he has been, I have been spending the last 2.5 or so months at my home track, Winchester, Virginia, the dirt track. Mine's not necessarily an announcing booth, but I'm up in the flag stand doing my flagging there this year, and going to be doing some go-kart racing and up in Pennsylvania here in another week or so, and then got some go-kart racing I'm flagging in West Virginia. So things are picking up a little bit, but I tell you what, I have missed this Vidane TV racing. I enjoyed this stuff when we did this back earlier in the year, and I really enjoyed it. I am so happy to be back. And, midweek racing, man, that's where it's at.
That void is filled, and we are here to fill that void here at Vidane TV. We really became known and got on our feet during the prime time of quarantine through this COVID stuff we're going through. We started off March, April, and just fired off. And the man behind all of the magic, he's hitting the buttons. He's giving you these awesome shots. That's Paul Strickland Jr. And, of course, Paul is here with us, too. Feel good to be back here, Paul.
It's always good to be back on Vidane TV. Man, we haven't really been on the airwaves over the past couple of months, a couple of shows here and there, but doesn't mean we haven't been busy. We got a lot of cool stuff going on right now for Vidane TV as well as Vidane Racing. Lots of big, huge, massive announcements coming up here very, very soon. So be sure to check out our Facebook page, like, comment, subscribe, do all that crazy social media stuff, and be sure to check us out on YouTube as well as Twitch. We're over there too. But thank you guys so much for having us here in your living rooms, your bedrooms, your trucks, your cars, on your mobile phones, in the bathrooms, wherever you are. Wes, take us through that starting grid.
I'm going to give you our top 10, and starting on the pole, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard his name here before on Vidane TV, and he is back out here, and that will be the number 46 of Ryan Libby. Starting on the outside pole will be the number 52 machine. That is Corey Casagrande. Starting in that 0-1 ride, that is Charles Lewandowski starting third. To his outside will be Michael Hopkins in the 78. He'll be starting fourth. And then Evan Bollier In the 56, he will be rounding out your top 5. Wyatt Alexander, he is a series champion from last year. He will be starting in that 96 in position 6, with Matt Kenfield starting 7th in the 76. On his outside will be Matt Shinosky in that number 8, starting 8th. Rounding out your top 10 will be the 81, DJ Gerard, and Kyle Casagrande in the 7, rounding out your top 10.
Taking over at position number 11, we have the Season 1 defending champion, John Peters, driving car number 51. His dancing partner on the outside, starting 12th in the 22, is Devin Marhefka on the inside of row number 7. Matching his car number, starts 13th. He's car number 13. That is Brandon Marhefka. And starting 14th in the 61 machine is Brandon Uhouse. Wrapping up the top 15, you have the 55 car of Jeffrey Brown. And on Brown's outside in car number 15, he starts 16th. This is Kenny Kibbe. Danny O'Quinn Jr. in car number 02 will start in position number 17, and on the outside of Danny will be the number 9 machine of Dylan Kopech in 18th. Completing the top 20 on the inside of row number 10 in car number 49 is Zane Farrell, and Anthony Aiello in car number 31 will start in position 20.
And then routing out your field, starting into that 21st position, will be the 74 of Ryan Pasoko, David Arute in the 14, 22nd. And then you're going to have Michael Bennett in the 64, Scott McDonald in the 44, and then starting shotgun will be Thomas Morris in the 58. And we got to give a big Vidane TV shout out to some notable names. Russell Bonanza, the lead sponsor of the World Series of iRacing that we had earlier this year. He is there with Edgewater Screens watching us. Hello, Russell. Lacey Brunell watching us as well. She's going to catch some of this action. Good to see her watching, and probably has her eyes on that 49 machine for sure. And then Ryan Ratcliffe says, let's go 56. So we got us a Bollier fan here. So, man, cars are on track. I feel like that we've been in quarantine. We're back racing here at Vidane TV.
That we are. We're half a lap away from going green flag. Once again, we'll be racing for 50 laps tonight here at the Daytona International Speedway. Not really a lot of time for you to figure things out. And I think one of the biggest things that these guys are going to have to balance is balancing being patient and being aggressive. You don't want to get too over aggressive early on and wipe yourself out of this thing. But 50 laps is not a lot of time. You got to figure things out quickly. You got to get yourself in position to be in the front, to be in contention to win this race, and be there when it counts. Now, we'll have to check here. I'm not exactly sure. I think these guys in the past have raced with fast repairs. I don't know if they have them here tonight or not. That'll obviously be a strategy move. If they do have them, they do have a fast repair. So that'll be something to look at throughout this entire event. They also only have a set of tires to work at. Tonight with the Super Speedway doesn't mean too much, but it could in the future.
50 laps here in the books to be determined. The green flag is out. The 46 of Ryan Libby leads us across the line as we go down in to turn 1 here at Daytona, and it is back to green flag action here at Vidane TV. Kyle mentioned patience and balance, two things that my body does not know as well on and off the track. But here in super speedway racing, patience is a virtue. The wrong move, getting impatient, can send you from first to last to on the hauler before the end of the event. So staying quite side by side here down the backstretch. The bottom line with a little bit more of the momentum, but that 52 hanging it outside there, Corey Casagrande.
Corey Casagrande leading the outside line. Ryan Libby, your pole sitter, still leading it down on the bottom. They'll come off of turn number 4. Pretty nice, even, compact of cars side by side through the tri-oval. The first lap of the season will go to the 46 of Ryan Libby. Ryan Libby gets the first lap, 1 in, 49 laps to go. Now everybody completely up to speed. And look at that top side, gain some momentum down the straightaway. Corey Casagrande pulling up even to Ryan Libby on the turn 1 entry. Libby being down on the bottom. The inside line is the preferred line for these turns. But the top side on the straightaways, if they can get the drafting help, this is where they will really excel. You can see a great push from the 96 of Wyatt Alexander, keeping the 52 right even with the 46 as they go into turn number 3. Good, calm, side-by-side super speedway action to start this one.
This is just the calm before the storm, folks. If you're familiar with super speedway action, you'll see a lot of the beginning of the race possibly just logging in laps. You're just you're trying to get to the end because you're in such a big group. At any time, the one false move could put you on the hook and done for the day. But that outside line staying even here with the inside line. Wyatt Alexander gets a little bit out of a little loose going into turn one, leaving a little bit of room for the 78 of Hopkins to pull on him. But again, Kyle, they're staying quite even though your clear leader right now is Ryan Libby in that 46.
Yeah, these guys giving themselves an opportunity to kind of get comfortable, feel out what it's like to drive around inside of the draft with all these cars around them. Now, one of the cool things with this series is we're going to do our best to pump it out each week, every broadcast that we do, get you guys familiar with this. They're bringing back their themed paint schemes. This is something that they did back in season 1, and they're doing it again here tonight for the season opener for season number 2. So everybody running a paint scheme of some type of throwback paint scheme to either themselves, a big public name, something along the lines of that. So, for instance, Ryan Libby, he's driving a 2000 Todd Bodine throwback from his Busch Series days on the number 46 machine. So, very awesome looking race car there. Your outside line there being led by Corey Casagrande and the number 52 car. He's got a 1987 Bruce Haley Busch North series. I was just kind of looking through the list here before we went live. Lots of Busch North paint schemes, which it makes sense for this national, well, now they call it the ARCA car here in iRacing. Very similar look to these cars as they were back in the Busch North days. So a lot of these guys taking advantage of it and using throwbacks from that series.
It's awesome seeing these different cars here. You're seeing the Skull Bandit out there as well, the fourth car on the outside. That's a throwback to Harry Gant. Could even be Schrader, depending on what driver you want to pick. It's really cool. That I think that's one thing I love about this series so much is the paint schemes. Growing up as a 90s kid, a lot of these paint schemes bring back a lot of memories. You see that Skull Bandit ride there. We see, it looks like the old Kendall machine back there behind him, back a row. Really, really cool paint schemes we see here. Even that 56 with that hand-cooked machine. So, and looks like a little bit of a checkup, though, looking back at the action here. That inside line starting to check up just a little bit. That pulls the outside line back even with them. We're still 2 by 2, and looks like we may have a chain for the lead. Ooh, Corey Casagrande, he wanted that low end there, Kyle, on the 46 of Libby, but Libby gets that momentum and clears them in 1 and 2.
Yeah, Casagrande was able to lead that last time by, and you can see how much of a difference coming off in turn number 2, that bottom line, he's able to excel off of the turn. I mentioned it earlier, and it's going to be one of the prominent things as you see with this lead draft. The outside line really gets a good benefit on the straightaways as long as they have the help, but it's the inside line taking the shortest way around this racetrack in the turns that helps that line pull forward and get back ahead of Casagrande once they go through these big, long, wide turns here at Daytona International Speedway.
And Kyle, a little bit of a update here. Ryan Pasoko has fell out of the server. A little bit of looks like some connection issues. So any Ryan Pasoko fans, unfortunately, he's fallen out of the server. Hopefully, he's able to get back rocking and rolling for us. But further back, there's actually a pack that's broken up. Jeffrey Brown in the 55 is off the pace a bit. Michael Bennett in the 64. He leads a pack that's further back with David Arute, Scott McDonald, and Thomas Morris. Seems like that pack has just chosen to possibly lay back. I'm not exactly sure if something caused them to get back there, but sometimes that's a great, great decision and just a great call here at Super Speedways. Just to lay back and miss the big one if it comes.
Yeah, you do see that happen quite often. Guys getting a variety of strategies. Some of them want to be up in the lead pack. They want to race at the front. They think that if the big one's going to happen, it's going to happen behind them if they're in the front. Other guys don't want anything to do with the lead pack. They want to hang out in the back and just kind of run their race and hopefully get a caution and get caught back up and then start racing once it actually matters. Now, one of the other cool things with this series is that we have a lot of real world and sim racing experience within this series. A lot of guys making some serious accomplishments in the real world and throughout the sim racing world. Again, we'll start up at the front of the field with our race leader, Ryan Libby. He is a real-life racer, has some experience in quarter midgets, micro sprints, and late models at the Stafford Motor Speedway. So that's insanely cool to see not only his racing experience, but a lot of variety throughout his racing experience. The guy that's been helping him out a lot so far here tonight, just on his back bumper, Charles Lewandowski, he is actually one of the drivers that used to compete in the NASCAR Busch North and East Series. He also has a little bit of experience in the NASCAR Gator RV and Outdoors Truck Series, as well as the Xfinity Series. He was a racer from 1993 through 2016, so a few years beyond his racing days. It's awesome to see a driver like him continue his racing here on iRacing.
That's the fun part about iRacing, Kyle, is you can get drivers with various experience levels, either nothing on the track or even up into experienced drivers all getting a race all at the same time here on iRacing. There's really no rules, no level in there, man. You can race up against some of the best. So back at the action here on the track, though, we haven't really missed much. It's been 2x2. That 52 on the outside of Casa Grande. He's been trying to get the momentum, not quite getting the push that he wants from the 96 Alexander. Wyatt has been it almost looks loose on entry and exit. Not able to get that push exactly how he wants to on that 52 machine of Casa Grande, but still early, still a long way to go as we're on lap 10 of 50.
Indeed we are. They'll come off a turn 4 this time and complete the first fifth of this race. Very calm, very relaxed, very safe super speedway race so far. These guys giving each other a lot of room, kind of getting laps in, just getting the feel for this thing. They realize that there's still a ways to go. Yes, it is the 50 lapper, and if you run all of these laps green flag, it is going to go by fairly quickly, but there's still a decent length to this, and you have to be able to be patient and figure things out. Dave, what have you been seeing so far here throughout this first fifth?
Right now, you've got the this front pack here that's being very, very cautious. They're just kind of, like you said, logging laps. That outside road looked like it had a little bit of a run there at first, but then it's kind of dropped back just a little bit. So right now, the 46 has got everything in control. You mentioned a 50 lapper. That's going to include one pit stop, or should include one pit stop, which could jumble this up. And, one of the things that these guys have problems with when they're in a big pack like this, I mean, it's great racing. Let's just say one of the guys up front wants to pit. You run into problems when you start slowing down. Everybody starts getting backed up and having a problem behind you. So it's going to be very interesting once pit stops roll around, if this pack is still as big as it is, for these people not to have a problem entering and exiting pit road.
This is the hardest part about super speedway racing as well, is the patient side of it, is logging these laps, as Dave just said. As a super speedway specialist here in iRacing, man, I start to lose my patience. If I'm trying to get up to the front, you got to remind yourself over and over again, you got a long way to go. You got to be patient. You wait for that right time, because you can easily try to split it free wide, try to make your own moves, and before you know it, you're shuffled back either 10 positions or you're the reason for the big one. So patience is a virtue. And just like Dave said, when it's time to pit, it's very methodical, and it takes a lot of communication with the other drivers on the track. You don't want to get ran over. It's very easy to do so. These guys are doing 192 miles an hour off the corner, about almost 200 by the time they enter the corner. It's easy to get ran over if you don't tell the guy behind you that you're about to pit. So as we look back on the track, though, that inside line has most of the momentum. That outside is just kind of getting a little bit scattered. It doesn't look like that 96 Alexander is really laying into the bumper of the 52 of Casa Grande, and you need to do that on this Daytona track. If you want to be able to keep up with that inside line, you have to stay organized. But right now, it looks like these drivers are just trying to get through it to the next pit stop.
Wes, as somebody that has raced a lot of super speedways and enjoys them as much as you do, what are some of the things that these guys are learning right now? Just to the viewers that may not have ever competed at Daytona International Speedway, whether it be real world or the virtual world, it may just seem like they're kind of just riding around and just logging laps right now. But even in a pack as really as calm as it looks like this one is, there's a lot of things that these guys are being able to learn running around each other, running in the pack. What are some of the things that you could tell our viewers right now that these guys are able to gather while turning these laps?
Well, the first thing I typically learn is I did not bring enough beer to my desk table, and typically I'm through 2 beers at this point, and I'm pretty upset that I didn't bring enough beer. So always make sure you have your pack completely sealed, cold, and ready to go, because you're going to need that. Because I'll tell you one thing about these super speedways is they get stressful. One thing you are learning is what what lines move, what it takes to make a line move. As we're watching here, you notice that high line's not going to move up and really make be a force to reckon with unless it has the organization. You also learn about the drivers you are racing with. You learn who's aggressive, who's more conservative, who likes the high line, who likes the low line, as well as you learn the draft package. That's a big thing about these cars. On iRacing, each car has a different draft package. You suck up differently in one car compared to another car. So if you're in the back, you'll see drivers from the back work their way to the front. If I'm starting in the back and it's a long race, I'll make a quick charge to the middle, to the front of the pack, just to see what my car can do and what it takes. So when it's time to make that move later on the race, I've already practiced it. I know what I have to do with my car. So you're learning so many things just by sitting in line. Like for now, if we can go to the 8 car of Matt Shinosky. If we can watch him, he's that 4th car on the outside, ladies and gentlemen, and you will see him kind of get up to the bumper of the car in front of him, and then he kind of lays off, and then you'll see him get. So you could see he's learning that draft of these cars. He's learning, okay, I'm catching him pretty quickly. So when it comes time to make that move, if he wants to step out, he'll know he'll be able to. And I said 8, that is actually his in-game car. On his paint scheme, it's actually a 0. I apologize about that, but that's a big thing. It's just learning what your car can do and what you can't do. And even if we can go real quick to the 49 of Zane Farrell, he's in a completely different position. He's down on the bottom line, further back in the pack. I think what Zane is learning as he's down there is just how his car is going to control, how if he needs to check up, as you see him checking up right now, how much he's laying off the gas. One of your biggest enemies at a super speedway is getting off the gas pedal. You lose so much momentum cracking to that throttle. And this is a great time for guys farther in the back, like a Zane Farrell, to realize how much he's able to let off the gas and how much time it takes to gain that momentum. So Kyle, to answer that question, you're learning about 15 to 20 things within a couple laps.
You know, it's pretty cool that you actually mentioned that last one there, Wes. Is I've heard throughout my experience with racing and super speedway racing that there are some guys that actually, instead of lifting off the throttle to stop them from running into the back of these guys with the big runs that they have, they actually keep the throttle mashed down and spike the brake pedal a little bit to try to get rid of that run, but also not lose as much time by coming off the throttle and having to worry about catching back up by putting the throttle down. Have you ever experienced that with yourself?
I have, and you know what? It's a battle of a technique, and for me, it depends where I'm at in a pack. If I'm logging laps like this, it's not going to hurt me that much to just break the throttle because I'm not losing anything. But if it's coming down to the last few laps and I need to cut that throttle a little bit, I will stay flat on the pedal and I'll just tap the brake with my left foot, keeping my right foot matted. And another thing these guys are learning, we've spoke about it many times, is patience. If I'm that 49 of Zane Farrell right now, I've already lost my patience. You can tell he races beyond sim racing because he's showing a great deal of patience. I would have already taken it 3 wide, pissed off 3 drivers, and had somebody call me a boomer by then. Because there's no way I would have had the patience. I would have already tried to take it 3 wide. So kudos to these guys just sitting in line, realizing this is a 50-lap race. You can't win it on lap 20. You can't win it on lap 40. And one other thing that you really have to take into accountability is, when do you make that move? If you're outside of the top 10, do you wait until 5 to go, until 10 to go? When do you make that move up throughout the track? Dave, from your experience watching these super speedways, when would you say would be a great time to make that move if you were outside that top 10?
I definitely wouldn't want to be in the lead on the last lap. I can tell you that. And if I am, you don't want to. Speaking of lead changes, I've been watching that 78 car. I was waiting to get a shot to talk about him. That 78 car, about 5 or 6 laps ago, he jumped out into that outside lane. And once he did, that outside lane actually started to make a move up to the front. And he finally got the break he needed and was able to jump down in front of the 46 of Ryan Libby. And now you see Libby going back to 3rd. But that 78 car, that's a strong car, that Michael Hopkins car, the Red Baron frozen pizza paint style that he's got going on there, the old Kenny Schrader, Buddy Baker paint scheme that used to be back in the day when it was the Winston Cup Series here at Daytona. But I was watching him, and that car seemed really strong. But like, you go back to the original question, I definitely do not want to be in the lead on the last lap, because those guys, when you're drafting like this, you could make up a ton of time. If you put 2 cars together, they'll roll right past you on the last lap. And then, of course, if you get up into that where you've seen it so many times on TV, these guys in the front start blocking, and the blocking causes the big one.
And Kyle, watching this, I'm getting nervous up here, Kyle. I've been in this position before where I'm the 46 of Libby. You got a guy trying to block both lanes, and all it takes is one bad timing moment. That 78 comes down, takes your nose off. You're out there, and everybody's taken out. So that 78 has to be careful here as he's kind of straddling that number 1 lane and number 2 lane, trying to keep the momentum of the 52 of Casa Grande behind him. It's that's a double-edged sword.
No, it really is. You see it so many times in the real world and the super speedway, how many wrecks are caused by blocking and trying to keep these guys behind you. So far, we've seen how dominant that bottom line has been. The outside line was the line that Mike Hopkins was able to use to take over the race lead. They had developed enough of a run. He was running up, leading that top line, and then it looked like there was a little bit of an off-center bump between Charles Lewandowski and Ryan Libby that kind of got Libby out of shape, and that's what broke the momentum down low and allowed Mike Hopkins to take over the race lead. But he didn't stay. Oh, we got a couple cars into the outside wall. They were coming off of turn number 2. They were able to hang on, but that got a little scary there. The orange car on the last car on the outside line there, that is, let's see who that is. Looks like Brendan Marhefka in the 13 machine. Not exactly sure how that all started there. I think the 81 car in front of him, DJ Gerard, was the one pushing him, but I was able to catch that he did scrape the outside wall in turn number 2. But we stay green. Lap 23 goes in the books.
Getting close to halfway here. We've only had 2 leaders so far, and that's Ryan Libby in the 46, and now that 78 machine of Hopkins. But here we go. Corey Casagrande able to pull even with him as you see the cars get really tight coming out of 1 and 2. And for those that not too familiar, Daytona and Talladega are the 2 super speedways on the NASCAR circuit, which are completely different. The only thing that they have in caution is you throw that pedal to the ground. When it comes to the corners, Daytona's a little bit more, almost make contact there. Daytona's a little bit more narrow. It's a little bit harder to go 3 wide. It's a little easier to make accidental contact. Even though you can make 3 wide happen, it's a super speedway, really close racing. Daytona's a little bit more challenging than Talladega. Now, this is where if I'm the 52 of Casa Grande, I'm getting frustrated. I'm looking back at the 96 and I'm telling him to push me, because I want to get to the lead, but it's so hard to do that without the help.
It really is, Wes. And when you're trying to get out in front and trying to get down into the dominant lane, sometimes depending on who the driver is, oh man, Marhefka's into the outside wall again off of turn number 2. I have no clue what is going on with the 13 of Brandon Marhefka, but the handling, something is not right with that car. He just slapped the outside wall again. Actually, may have come from some contact with the 49 car.
Yeah, the 49 car there coming through the middle of 2 of Zane Farrell makes contact with the 13, sends him up the track. And all it takes is minimal contact. Zane moved up maybe a half lane, made a little bit of contact with a 13, and shot him straight up the track. However, just a slap against the wall, he kept it straight, and we stay green. Your leader, Michael Hopkins, followed up by Corey Casagrande, Ryan Libby, Charles Lewandowski, and Wyatt Alexander. That is your top runners.
25 laps left to go, just like that, just under 20 minutes in, and we're already halfway home. How about Ryan Libby now? He jumps to the outside line for the first time tonight. He's going to try to take his lead back that he lost. Obviously, he wasn't too happy about losing that lead, so he wants a shot to take it back. That outside line starting to fade a little bit now. Their help starting to jump down to the bottom. They're not as organized as that bottom line is. Charles Lewandowski thinking about making a jump to the top, but he wasn't clear of Ryan Libby, so he's going to stay down on that bottom line and continue pushing the 1990 Ken Schrader throwback that Mike Hopkins is running at the front of this field. So now we're beyond the halfway point. We're going to see if the pit strategy comes in at all. And as we continue to click these laps away, the intensity is just going to continue to click up a little bit every lap that goes by.
All right, guys, so now open. We got a 3-wide battle here. The 78 gets put in the middle of Hopkins. Here we go. The 01 Charles Lewandowski said, I want the lead. I'm a big fan of that move. Stop waiting around. That puts the 46 on the high side of Libby. He factors himself back in on the right behind the 78 on the outside line, but that opened up the door now, where now it looks like Bollier in the 56 who move into that second position, but new leader Charles Lewandowski, now Bollier looking to the outside.
starting to get racy up here to the front of the field. And what these guys need to be careful about is that big pack the small pack that you had mentioned at the start of this race, Wes, that had dropped off the leaders. These guys are all in front of this lead pack. There are 5 cars that are side by side right now in front of this lead pack. Not too sure if they're going to get to them on this front stretch or not. They are definitely going to be coming a factor on this next lap.
Kyle, the leaders are trying to communicate with the spotters and those drivers. We need you to get single file. We need you to get single file in a hurry when we get to you. You can see just how quickly they're catching this lap traffic. As you see, the leaders are starting to get single file. They're going to try to figure out their best way around this. This is a gaggle, and if you are the leader of this, you are not happy. As you see from the 01, the spotter cam, how hard this is to see from the spotters as well. But if you are the leader, you're frustrated. And here you have a choice to make, and it's a hard one. And it looks like he's going to take it down the middle. Oh, contact with the 58. The 58 makes contact with our leader, but he holds it. What a save by the 01. And now here we go. Now he has another decision to make. He splits the lap cars going into 30. He clears the 55 in the wall, 78 in the wall, and they are powering up the 31, trying to save the 31 sideways. He's able to save it. Everybody saves it. The 7 saves it. Oh, hard contact out of 4. The 55 completely boomers in out of turn 4. Big wreck, caution is out. He collects the 31 of Anthony Aeo. Boy, oh boy, what, man, that was just a volcano waiting to erupt. I thought it was going to stay just calm there, Kyle. All of a sudden, the 55 just says, you know what, eastbound and down, takes a hard left off the wall. Jeffrey Brown did, caution out. Dave, man, what did you see there for us, Dave?
I saw a lot of lap traffic that should have been single file on the bottom of the racetrack. But that being said, it didn't happen, which caused all this. We were doing pretty good here. It looked like the guys on the bottom were staying on the bottom. The 2 cars at 55 and the orange car up there did a pretty good job of staying out of the way. But it looks like to me when they went into the corner, 55 either slowed down or something, because the 78 just ran right into it right there. You see him, and that just piled everybody up behind him and caused all kinds of problems for all the Libby, the leader earlier in the race. I'm not exactly sure what happened here coming off the wall, but the car just made a hard left and took out that car there on the inside. So lap traffic is always going to be a problem in racing, but those cars should have single filed and got down to the bottom of the racetrack. I would have saved a lot of tore up race cars.
You know, thank you so much, Dave. Kyle, I've been in that position before. The last Vidane racing season, where a lap car alters the running order. A lap car gets into it with the leader, and there's nothing more frustrating. But if there is a bright side of this, all these drivers have one fast repair as we see the leaders hit pit road.
That we do. Wes, got your race leader Charles Lewandowski coming into the pit. Second place, Evan Bullier is in. Your pole sitter, Ryan Libby, has made his way pit side. The 76 machine, Matt Kenfield, pit side. Matt Shinowski comes in. Shinowski's going to win the race off of pit road ahead of Evan Bullier. Those are the first 2 cars to jump off. Now Lewandowski's going to go out. You see the 78, Mike Hopkins has rolled in, and now the race off of pit road starts. John Peters, Ryan Libby, and a handful of others, everybody coming on down, getting service. Depending on what the fuel is like, I'm going to assume, seeing that we went the first half of the race without any yellows and without any pit stops, this should be the one and only pit stop that these guys need.
And these pit stops, the timing of this couldn't have been any better, because these cars were just on the point of where they're going to have to start thinking about pit stops. And we talked about it earlier, being in a big pack like that. It's difficult to get on pit lane to go from 190 mile an hour down to a pit road speed of, I guess, 55 in this particular race with a pack of cars like that. And one of the things I noticed, a lot of the cars, or some of the cars on this round of pit stops, 5-6 second pit stops versus the 12 and 13 and 14. Some guys only took gas, so they were looking for track position. So you got a lot of guys that are up front right now that just took on gas, and I guess their intent is going to be to run the rest of the race on the tires that they got on the car.
You know, and getting that one tire change, it really comes into play. Usually super speedways, tires aren't that big of an issue. Daytona, they're a little bit more than the Talladega, but not as much. But as your tires start to wear, it goes either one way or another when it comes to corner entry. One, you're turning that car harder to the left, which keeps it makes it more difficult to keep a car on the bottom if you got someone above you, or you start to get loose, which either line will be affected by. You know, if you don't take tires at a race where the track's eating them up, you tend to go to the outside. You can't drive the inside as much because you end up having to burp that throttle, and you don't want to have to worry about that. So having that one set of tires there, Kyle, can really benefit them.
It really can. And what we're going to benefit off of is a quickie little yellow flag here. We're already doubled up and getting ready to go back to green flag racing this next time by. So we will have 18 laps to decide it. Your new race leader in this one, the number 0 machine of Matt Shinosky, the driver currently living in Irwin, Pennsylvania. This is a bit of an interesting racing experience post that we got here for this driver. Says he's a washed-up late model mechanic and currently the social media director for the Jennerstown Speedway in Jennerstown, Pennsylvania. So, well, I guess he's... I don't know if that's him calling himself a washed-up late model mechanic or other people, and he's just rolling with it. But either way, kind of cool to see that. And I guess we got a lot of Jennerstown Speedway people out there watching this one too. So a shout-out to them. Thank you guys for joining us. And your man's out front right now, your social media director, leading this one here beyond the halfway point, getting ready for this restart.
All right, we are going back to green this time around. It's great to see these short restarts at super speedways because you really get bored under caution and you start getting distracted, and before you know it, you're two more beers in and all the lights are just doubling. So, all right, so here we go. The pace truck heads down pit road. Green flag is out. Your leaders, Evan Bollier as well as Matt Shinosky, they will take the green flag this time around on lap 33 of 50. In tow is Charles Lewandowski on the bottom end. The outside is at 46 of Ryan Libby. He was an earlier leader, barely able to get out of that last wreck without too much going on. So they are tight coming through 1 and 2. Most of the pack staying close. We've got some drivers further back that are kind of lingering back there. Ryan Pasoko has joined the pack back. We mentioned that he fell out a little bit ago, but other than that, guys, we have about, the way it looks, we got about 18 cars under a blanket going into 3.
Speed's coming up to full song here. These guys rocketing around the Daytona International Speedway. And don't look now, we talked about him so much at the conclusion of season 1. How could we not? He won the championship. John Peters has made his presence known here on lap number 34. He is the third car on the inside line. Again, the defending champion looking to get his title defense off to a strong start and trying to get himself to the front to be a contender in this season opener for season 2 here in the New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series. Of course, we told you he's the defending series champion, also a real-life racer, so many accomplishments, and currently running a 1999 Mike Stefanik Busch North paint scheme on that number 51 car. So lots of experience in the sim racing world and the real racing world, paying tribute to one of the legends in short track racing in Mike Stefanik with his paint scheme on that ride.
Kyle, this is when the business starts to pick up. You are 15 to go next time by. If you're not in that top 5, in about 5 laps, you want to make sure you're in that top 5. You see Ryan Libby all over the bumper here, the 56 of Evan Berlew. As they are, as you can see on board of Ryan Libby here, he's just pushing as hard as he can onto that 56 machine, but that inside line just still has the advantage. We've been seeing that all night. You're going to really have to get some cars lined up on the outside there, Kyle. They just cannot stay connected like they can. That's Lau and Schnowski to get that advantage.
It's something we've seen throughout the entirety of this race so far. The outside line able to hang with those guys on the bottom, but they just can't quite get enough to get a pass made. The only pass that we've seen from that top side was when Ryan Libby and Charles Lewandowski got a little sideways and out of shape from pump drafting down the backstretch. And now an unfortunate factor coming into play here, Evan Bollier is starting to show some connection issues. We haven't seen any problems out of him throughout the entirety of this race so far. Now it looks like it might be calming down, but man, that cannot be fun for Ryan Libby, trying to push him to the race lead, push him and give that lane some momentum, and the guy that you're trying to draft with starts warping on you.
Let's throw a couple more pieces of the puzzle into this thing here. The 56.
Oh, we got the spin here, guys. We got the 74 car in the back of the field has spun
Big
around.
wreck.
I saw somebody else crashing, and Wes throwing his typical big wreck in there for a single car spin. That would be the lap machine of Ryan Pasoko, 24 laps down. Caution flag has not flown yet. He's rolling on the apron of the racetrack. Looks like we're going to stay green with this single car accident.
Taking a little bit of contact there between him and the 13 car. Pretty significant hit there, and the car down there at the bottom. I guess he's still rolling because we still haven't got a caution flag out there yet. But he's right there, right down the entrance of pit road is where he ended up, and that's probably the reason he didn't throw the caution, because he was so close to the end of pit road. As I was saying earlier, before we had that spin, those two cars in the front, I know for a fact, 56 car, looking at the pit stops, only had about a 6-second pit stop, which means he probably only took on fuel. And right now, him being out in front on that outside lane is really, really holding that outside lane up. And I got to believe that car is going to want to push or get loose, because he's got tires that have 38 laps on them. The 01 and the 46 both took on tires. I'm pretty sure the 0 did not take tires as well. So those two cars right now, they're kind of in a tough position right now, because they want to stay in the lead, but they are definitely not as fast. And you see the 56 dropping back, having a hard time keeping the car on the bottom or towards the bottom of the racetrack. And that's actually holding that whole outside line up, those front two cars. But now you got a car, the car number, or the 01 just jumped out there. Oh, we got contact.
Big wreck. There you go, Kyle. Big wreck here. The leaders are the 51 and the 8. Matt Shinosky, who was just at the front of this pack, battling for the lead, comes around. The caution comes out. Looks like the 01 comes down, makes contact with him, sends him around. The 51 gets contact from the rear, sending him around. Luckily for both drivers, though, it doesn't look like there's a ton of damage, as Paul's going to get us that replay. Possibly a little bit of contact there with the 56, sending him around there, Dave.
Yeah, it's contact from the rear, and coming off the corner, coming off that tri-oval at Daytona International Speedway, that's when your car is the lightest. It's the light in the rear end already, just by design, just the way the part of the track is, the way it's banked, the car's light. It doesn't take much to get him turned, and he gets into the 0 car and sends a couple of them spinning, including that former champion that you talked about in the 51 car, the John Peters.
To look at it myself here, there was actually kind of a 2 wreck into 1 type ordeal there, because John Peters got turned around by the 96 of Wyatt Alexander, which I think, taking a shot at it myself, I think John Peters had checked up for Lewandowski coming down into the bottom line, and Wyatt just didn't quite react to it in time, got into the back of John and spun him around. So that is a huge, huge tough break for two of our front runners, Matt Shinosky in the race lead, and then John Peters running inside the top 5. They're going to have a lot of work to do for them here in these final stages of this race, having to come from the back to try to get back up to the front and salvage a good finish.
And this is where where cautions breed cautions, I like to say. This is where it's probably going to get a little bit worse. The laps are winding down. We're going to be less than 10 to go when we go green flag racing. You're going to see it ramp up. You're going to see drivers further in the back doing whatever they can to try to go to the front. A lot easier said than done, but you're going to see drivers trying to do so. Whew. If you thought we were in a lull before, you might want to drink your coffee and wake up, because now it's going to be gut check time. And Matt Shinosky, who's been up front all race in that 0 car, can he make his way back up to the front?
That'll be one of the biggest things to watch here on this final run. If those guys are going to be able to work their way back up to the front from the rear. Checking it now, both cars are in the pits, getting some service done, probably changing the tires on those machines, since they just took a nice long slide down the front straightaway here at the Daytona International Speedway. Brandon Marhefka is also in the pits. He's now just leaving. Marhefka got a piece of that incident with the 74 machine of Ryan Pasoko that did not bring the caution out, so he's coming in for service now. Everybody getting themselves off of pit road. So this gives us, it gives them an opportunity to kind of relax, take a deep breath again and settle up here for this final stretch to get to the finish. We will restart this race with less than 10 laps to go. Evan Bullier, currently your race leader. How about that save by Charles Lewandowski? Had to use up the zero machine of Matt Shinowski to do so, but he was able to keep that car straight. He is currently in position number 2. He's been at the front of the field this entire race, and even though he's going to have to restart on the outside, you know he's going to be strong and going to be fighting hard to get this win.
All right, this is where we all make mistakes in life. Let's choose our picks to win this race here. I'm going to go, and I say that because super speedways are completely unpredictable, and your chances of winning are very slim to none. My pick is Ryan Libby to pull this one off. What about you, Dave?
The 46 car, he's been strong all night, but I tell you that 01 car, the car of Charles Lewandowski, he proved that when he went to the outside, he was a force to be reckoned with. And he's going to start on the outside row when we do this restart. So I think I'm going to go with the 01 of Charles Lewandowski.
Well, I guess that leaves it all up to me. And since you guys took 2 of the top 3, I guess I'll finish it off. I will pick Evan Bullier in the 56 car. We've seen how dominant that inside line has been. The lead position in the inside line has been very strong. And Evan Bullier has just been absolutely phenomenal in this series. If my memory serves me correctly, he was able to win the championship in the 3-race IROC series that we did after season 1 for this series, and it's no surprise to me to see him back up in position number 1 with a shot to win this thing here in the late going. Paul, how about you? What do you got?
Well, man, I'm going to say the top 3 guys just got picked by the commentary team and the pit road reporter. I think I'm going to dial up my pick here in P4. Gerard, man, you got something for us? You going to win this for me in the last 10 laps?
I hope so. I hope we can do the same thing we did last Thursday night during the practice race, ride around, and then end up in the front right at the end.
Good deal. We know you're getting ready to go back to green, so we'll kick you back down there, and good luck to you in the last couple of laps.
Very much. I want to appreciate and say thank you to you guys and Shift Marketing to putting this thing on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be coming out of turn 4 this time by. We will be taking 8 laps to go. Your top 10 right now is Evan Bullier in that 56 machine. Then it's Charles Lewandowski, DJ Gerard, Ryan Libby, Wyatt Alexander, Corey Casagrande, Kyle Casagrande, Devin Marhefka, Matt Kenfield, Kenny Kibbe rounds out your top 10. We're going to see that pace truck head down pit road. Man, oh man, my voice is already gone. Green flag is out. We are back here at Daytona International Raceway.
8 laps to go to settle the season opener for the New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series. It's Evan Bullier leading the bottom lane, Charles Lewandowski leading the top lane. Everybody getting themselves through the gears, building speed, getting back to race pace here around the 2.5-mile Daytona International Speedway. We've seen this race be fairly calm for the most part. Now we're in the home stretch. We're closing in on the finish. The intensity is going to pick up. Things are going to get wild and crazy.
Oh boy.
How about this 3 wide going down the back straightaway for the race lead. Evan Bullier on the bottom, Lewandowski in the middle, and on the top side now getting hung out in the 81 is DJ Gerard. Here comes Ryan Libby. He's looking to the top side. The Libby-Lewandowski connection about to get reconnected. Could they go to the front around the top side of Evan Bullier?
Man, kudos to Gerard trying to make that move. 52 makes contact with a 7. There goes the 81 around. There they go. There go, man. There go. Boy, oh boy, the big one. Zane Farrell's in it. The 15's in it. We have the big one at Daytona International Speedway. Devin Marhefka just trying to get through it. The 51 of John Peters. The load has been blown. Coming out of turn 4 into the tri-oval. Zane Farrell in that 49 is wadded up like a piece of paper. DJ Gerard is rear end is hanging off. Dave, what do you got for us?
You see the cars coming down here, and they got 3 wide coming down this front straightaway here. And again, with only about 7 laps to go, things just start getting crazy. And a little bit of contact there with the 52 into the 7. He sends it into the 81. Almost took out the pace truck down there on the inside there. And the 51 car involved again. A lot of cars involved. A lot of good cars involved. Caution number 3 here right at the end at lap 45.
Kyle, is it okay if I say that's a big one? Is that all right?
Out of the 3 big wreck calls that you have made, yes, that is the first accurate one in saying that's the big one. So you're at a 33% success rate. I'm proud of you.
Well, my girlfriend would tell you that I don't know what a big one is, but I can tell you what, that
Oh
was
my
a big one
lord.
right there. That was a huge one coming down to just 5 to go. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we do have green, white checkered. So I believe we're at least going to get a chance to see this end under green. As I see that the limit is at for the green, white checkers here. I'm not exactly sure if they have a limit, but the where that caution came out, we're at least going to have one chance still get this back on green. Now it's going to come down, Kyle and Dave, who has in that incident, who still has a reset. And 78, if we can look at the 78 of Hopkins, man, oh man, we saw him leading earlier in this race. Now, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, his hood is blocking his view. Tough break for Hopkins.
Well, I have seen in my experience with this race car that could potentially, I will say potentially, just be a glitch on our end. But seeing that he's coming down a pit road, I would assume probably not. So the Ken Schrader throwback of Mike Hopkins going to go down on the pit road and get that taken care of. We'll see as soon as he gets stopped into the pits here if the fast repair is used. But I would assume that is going to happen here. As as soon as he pops into the pit stall, the hood slams down shut. So I guess that's good timing for him then.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, we are here with leader Ryan Libby. Ryan, I chose you to win this race. Just a caution to go. You're proving me to be right, which isn't typically normal. Do you have what it takes to hold off the hard charging Evan Bollier as well as the rest of this pack that's still around here without the damage?
Yeah, I mean, this is just plate racing. Lewandowski's really fast. All these guys are really good. It's just hopefully I don't get too much of a push out front where they get a huge run. The inside lane's probably the lane to be in right now, but the guys behind you, if they give you too much of a push, it gets these cars really upset, and sometimes it leads to a huge crash. So I definitely came in here just wanting to get a top 10, top 5, and right now I'm leading, so hopefully we could finish it off. But like I said, it all depends on the guy behind you trying to push you.
Ryan, we've seen the rear ends of these cars getting really, really loose, and it seems like through the tri-oval. That seems like where most of the action is, where that just happened in your mirror. Just got a car getting loose. Are you feeling that through the tri-oval? Are you feeling the car get a little bit lighter?
Absolutely, especially like when the cars go 3 wide, the cars in the middle, the cars become very unstable. And I know it's from the viewers watching, it looks easy, but like with these things, it's very, very touchy, and it's something with the simulation with the air. It really gets the cars really squirrely. So they're definitely a handful, even side by side. They're definitely a handful.
All right, Ryan, you are 1 to go here. We're going to let you go. If you prove me right, I'll be happy, man. We're pulling for you up here. Hopefully you can finish this thing on all 4 wheels, and possibly if we can talk to you in victory lane here in just a few laps.
I hope so. Thanks, guys.
Good luck. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was your leader, Ryan Libby. Starting on the outside of him will be Evan Bollier, and then Charles Lewandowski will be starting 3rd. 4th will be Wyatt Alexander, and then rounding out your top 5 is Kyle Casagrande. On the outside of him will be Matt Kentfield. He's playing the top here in that number 76 machine. Danny O'Quinn, beautiful car there. He's going to be running 7th, and then outside of him will be the 61 of U-House, Brandon U-House, that is, will be starting 8th. So that's your top 8 here. Man, Kyle, this has been a rock'em sock'em race so far, buddy.
Sure has been. No surprise to see things towards the end of a super speedway race get more intense and more wild. We saw the first half plus of this one go caution free. Now we've had a few yellows. We just had ourselves our first big one. We will have 3 laps to decide it. What do you think, guys? Do we make it all 3, or are we using that green white checkered?
What I'm using, if I'm the 0-1 of Lewandowski, I'm using my front bumper on the rear end of that Libby car. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's This is where it comes down to that aggressiveness, guys. I'm hoping that we don't see any other cars heading down into the infield or into the wall. But with my super speedway specialists, if we don't see a car on their roof, then then this race is not official. The green flag is out this time across the line. As you see, we are 3 to go. Ryan Libby on the outside. Evan is on that 56 on the outside, and here comes Lewandowski. That Lewandowski machine has been hooked up with Ryan Libby most of this race. Will that ally that Libby has made throughout this race, will that stick? I'll tell you what, Kyle, there's so many times that you make a friend in a super speedway race you didn't expect to make, and before the checker flag flies, he ends up being a foe. Here comes the 56 on the outside.
You're absolutely right, Wes. At this point, it's all about me. Yeah, I might use you to help me out, but it's all about me at this point. Ryan Libby out in front of this field. Nobody to his outside. He's got a field double wide behind him off at turn number 4. The popsicle stick's going to go into the air. 2 laps of racing to go. Can your pole sitter hang on to this one and go to victory lane? He's made his way back to the front of the field, leading them all down into turn number 1 for the penultimate time. Evan Bollier pulling up to the right rear corner panel, but now he'll start to lose ground as they go into the turn. Charles Lewandowski getting close to that 56, trying to break that draft and keep the 46 in front. Wyatt Alexander peeks to the outside of the 56, but he stays in. Ryan Libby down off the apron. We saw a bump between those two, costing the lead earlier on in this race. It may have just happened again. Evan Bollier going even into turn number 3.
Caution's out. We have a wreck in the back. Big wreck. John Peters is in it. Michael Hopkins is in it in the 78 machine. His hood once again is over his face. Another big wreck here with the 51 of Kibbe making contact with the 14 machine of David Aru, sending Aru down into the 22, sending him back up the track into the 51, collecting the 78. Walk this through here, Dave.
Well, let's see. They're going down the back straightaway, and things seems to be going pretty good right about now. I'm trying to see where the contact was made that started all this, or maybe just see. There's the quarter there. They go into 3 wide there. Oh, there's some contact there with the 22 and the 14. 51 on top of the 78 car going backwards down the back right there on top. Let's go back just a little bit. You see some contact. Let's stop it right here. Then we'll watch the 22 and the 14. And it looks like the 15 got into the 14, which turned him into the 22 and pushed him back up the racetrack. And here we go.
The 78, one more time with his hood, was disconnected a bit there, just kind of flapping a little bit. At least that's how it is here in the sim. You may not see that on your screen. The 14's hood is flapping around like a cheap night at a club. It's just flapping. And then there's a couple other cars that are just wadded up, but that's 78. Again, maybe 15 laps ago, we saw the 78 of Hopkins battling up front, a contention for the lead. Now out of it. We know he's already used his reset from the last caution. We know he's out of it. John Peters was already in a wreck. He is all wadded up in that 51. He's out of contention. David Aru in that 14. That car looking like a Lego piece that's been stepped on by a 5-year-old that's overweight. Completely just shattered. That 14 is done for. So the field is starting to dwindle down here at Daytona, Kyle, but still up front and with a scare there on the backstretch. Ryan Libby in the 46.
About that ride that John Peters took. He rode on top of Mike Hopkins' car there in turn 3. Had to be up there for about 5 seconds. Fortunately for him, it didn't turn over, but that machine absolutely just smashed apart. Now, we did see him get spun out at the front of the field earlier on in this race. He didn't hit anything, so I don't know if he's used his fast repair or not yet, but even with the green-white checkered, it's going to take him a while to get back up through the field. And, well, why don't we just get all the answers right now? John Peters, got you here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Man, John, what a wild ride that was. We see, fortunately, you do still have your fast repair left, so you're going to have a fresh car here for this green-white checker. Kind of changes things up there. Take us through that thing from your perspective. You were on top of the 78 car for a good ride there through turn 3.
Yeah, that was not ideal. I was just trying to see what I could get there from 20th. I actually thought I could hang back, and I was in a somewhat safe spot. I thought the leaders would crash, and I'd miss it and be able to have a chance here on this restart, but turns out that I was right behind the actual crash, so it kind of backfired. But we had the reset there, so we'll try to make something out of the last 2 laps.
John, you're coming up to a green-white checker here. You're going to have to take the restart in the back. What's the strategy here? What do you have to do to survive this green-white checker and get yourself a good finish?
Well, we only have 1 attempt at this, so I'm going to take whatever run I get, but, try not to wreck for 20th place. But we'll take whatever run we can get and see if we can't smartly get ourselves a top 10 here.
Alrighty, John, we appreciate your time and your insight. We wish you the best here on this final attempt here, this final restart with green-white checker, 2 laps to decide it. Go put on a show for us, okay?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Buckle up. This could be wild.
Your defending series champion, John Peters, taking a wild ride there in that last crash to bring out this current caution flag. Gonna have his work cut out for him here on this green-white checker, but with him being as successful of a driver as he is, I'm sure he'll put on a show trying to get himself back up through the field.
Kyle, do you have a new pick, or are you sticking with the same one?
Oh, you can't change picks now, man. You got to stick with it. What kind of a dedicated picker would I be if I'm changing who I'm going with?
All right, I'm just making sure, just making sure. I'm not much of a dedicated picker. Hell, I've been through a divorce. Anyways, I'm sticking with Ryan Libby. I believe he's going to be our winner. Dave, you still sticking with yours?
Absolutely. He's right on the tail end of the 46 and saw a little speed there on those last couple of laps that he just ran. And what he needs to do on the start, he needs to get up on the bumper at 46 like right now and try to get him a little bit squirrely on the start. Maybe he'll take advantage of it.
We've seen those bumpers line up throughout this race, that 46 and then 01. Those two keep on binding each other no matter what happens, but the pace truck is off. You heard it already. You get one shot at this. We only have one green-white checkered. The flag is out. We are green. The 56 crosses the line first. Hopefully he doesn't get a penalty from that for iRacing. Hopefully there's no quirk there, as we are green flag racing. 2 to go. If the caution comes out, that will end it as they barrel down into 1 and 2.
Not what you want to see right now if you're one of those drivers on the outside line. Only 5 cars up there, lots of space in between those 5 cars. The bottom side, definitely the place to be. And as soon as I say that, one of the cars, the 64, jumps up to the outside lane. That's Michael Bennett. He wants to join them. And now the outside starting to gain some help. Those guys starting to get lined up, and Evan Bollier leading the field into turn number 3. But again, that bottom side is where it's at. Ryan Libby takes back over off with turn number 4. Here they come. White flag will go into the air one more time around the Daytona International Speedway.
Kyle, I'll do my best to take it from here. We are 2 by 2. White rag, white flag is out here at the World Center of Racing. They're all side by side, 3, 4, 5 rows on back, as the God Dave Moody would say. Coming through turn 2, the leaders almost make contact. They do make contact exiting 2. What does, and there goes the 7, goes around, makes contact with Bennett. We're on the white flag lap, so this is the last lap. There will not be a caution. They race out of turn 3, the 0-1, spins the 56. The 56 collects the 81. Hard contact into the wall. The 46 Olympic comes up into the 01. They all wreck coming out of 4. The battle for the lead is on. Daniel Quinn goes under the yellow line. He's going for the win under the yellow. He is cheating on the doll. Dylan Kopeck. Holy crap! Daniel Quinn wins it in the 0-2 underneath the yellow line. What will race officials do? He went under the yellow line, all 4 wheels to take the win. Danny O'Quinn is officially the winner, but for how long? Oh, what a finish. What a finish. We are under technical difficulties right now. We're going to get you the replay. Don't worry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Danny O'Quinn is scored as your winner for now, but he went under the yellow line to pass Dylan Kopeck for that one. But behind him, cars are wadded up. The Corey Casagrande car. Zane Farrell is wadded up. Ryan Pasoko is wadded up. Almost everybody else is wadded up. You're seeing the replay here, Dave.
All right, so we're coming to the white flag, and everybody's getting crazy. So there goes the 56. 01 is still good. He gets into the 46. So 46 looked like he was trying to block. The silver car goes and gets involved. I want to see this replay here. Oh, you know what? He did go below the line, but was he forced below the yellow line when they came down there? You need to check that out. If we can get a good tight shot on that 0-2 and the lead car, if we can get a really good tight shot on that as they come off the corner, it looks like right here he goes down. Was he forced down? You see the car, the 09, kind of wiggles a little bit, and let's watch it right here. See, he kind of pushes it down there just a little bit. So it's going to be a tough call for race officials to find out if he was forced to go down below that yellow line or not. This is going to be an interesting call.
Finishes like this is why I retired from being a race official. I don't want to make that call. I'll tell you that. I'm sure Paul can agree. Both of us helping out at the Vidane racing side of making calls and stuff. But you're absolutely.
Can we get a rear view of those two cars right there? A rear view of maybe the car that won, the 02 car. Let's get a rear view of that car.
Here's the thing, Dave. When he goes below the yellow and looking, that's a great view to ask for. He's still behind the 09 when he goes under the yellow. So
let's start it from here. Let's go behind the 02 car. Let's try it from there. If we could do that, Paul. There we go. Right now we're good. Comes down, but you see the 09 forces him down. I'm telling you. That is the angle they need to look at. That's the angle they need to look at.
Dave, if you look at that as well, if we get the Daniel Quinn 02 rear view there.
Right now, he's good.
He's still clear. Paul, if you can go to where you're looking backwards, he's clear of the 09. He's to the point where when he makes that move, he could still come up and be clear.
Back that up. Do that other view you just had, Paul. That far away view from the behind the. There you go. Now do it. Take a look here real quick.
I hate to interrupt such a good debate here, but we do have official word. The race director has said in the text chat of the race server, the 02 machine of Daniel Quinn Jr. is your official race winner.
Wow.
And it is good.
So they must have considered that being forced below the yellow line. It's the only way I can figure.
Yeah, they must have. Watching one view, it looks like the 02 was clear, but I could see the case of being forced as well. So, man, oh man, Dylan Copa, tough break. But ladies and gentlemen, what a wild finish. Daniel Quinn is officially your winner. Dylan Kopech second. Devin Marhefkin at 22 coming home third. Brandon Uhouse fourth. We haven't said his name much, and that's 61. Fifth, Matt Shinowski. Sixth, David Aru. John Peters getting the top 10 in that 51 machine with a seventh place. Kenny Kibbe with a beat-up race car finishing eighth. Charles Lewandowski ninth, and rounding out your top 10, Ryan Libby, the driver that went into turn 4 as your leader, finishes 10th. And that, Kyle, is why you can never count your chickens too soon at a super speedway.
It would be a real interesting stat is to see where the 02 car was on the 49th lap. See where he was in the field, because how many cars did we wreck on that last lap? We must have lost a dozen of them. He must have been 14th or 15th or something and then come back and win that thing. Like you said, you never count them until this thing's over, especially on these plate races.
Yeah, and
I just checked it for you there, and he came across the stripe at the white flag in position number 8. So with all the chaos and craziness that happens, he was 8th, gets to victory lane here tonight. Now, I'll be curious to hear this one. Now, of course, with this being a league, it's up to the league's discretion what they do for the rules. Now, everybody is all well aware that the NASCAR rule is that you cannot pass below the double yellow line here at Daytona International Speedway. iRacing's rule in their sporting code states that you can make a pass down there on the straightaways. You just cannot cause a crash trying to come back up. So whichever way the league decides to go with, they are open to do their own rules. But figured I'd just give you guys that little piece of information compared to how NASCAR does it and iRacing does it.
That just shows you this is iRacing, not NASCAR. The rules are not the same. I feel like if this was a NASCAR event, Daniel Quinn would have been eliminated. However, this is iRacing. There's no DQ. Your winner is Danny Oakman. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we're going to get a quick break, and I believe we're going to try to get a couple interviews here. So we're going to interview third place, which is Devin Marhefka. So I believe that Kyle, actually, I'm with Devin right now. Devin, are you there?
Yeah, how are you?
Devin, man, what a battle. This will look more like a Bristol race than a Daytona race, finishing that car in the top 3. Walk us through your event.
It looked like a lot like the Busch Clash at the start of this year, where Eric Jones won without a nose or whatever it was. I mean, it was crazy. I think I took the white flag in like 10th or something like that, and I just kept my foot in it on the bottom and hope I didn't run anyone over.
You know, for one, I got to say, it's great to talk to you. We've been gone for a little bit, and it's great to hear your voice. It's been a while since we've been back here at Vidane, and now that we're back, we get to see you pull off the top 3, which honestly, we didn't say your name much in this feed. You kind of kept it low key. What was your strategy going into this?
Well, me, my brother, and some of the Team PA guys, we were like, we got one fast repair. It's going to get used at some point, so we didn't want to have to use it in the first 20 or so laps. I mean, we kept it clean for the first, I think the first caution was lap 26 or something like that. So it was a lot cleaner than we thought it was going to be. And then I just kind of got stuck in the back of the pack. And then I honestly wouldn't have finished top 3 if they didn't all pile it up on the last lap.
You know what? The saying here is that the super speedway, sometimes you got to be more lucky than good. There's so much luck that comes into this. Maybe not even luck, just things going your way, man. And that's exactly what you got. You got things to go your way. Now we got a second with your brother. Who would you like to thank? Any hellos and thank yous?
I'd like to thank my brother, my dad, all of our sponsors on the real life car. It's been a hectic year with the whole COVID situation, but we were lucky enough to get all of our partners from last year or the previous year back, and we got Memorial Highway Chevrolet, the Clarks, Allied Milk Producers, Burke Towing. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few, but they're constantly helping us. We run both an asphalt and a dirt car, so we can't understate how much they help us.
Man, you put on one hell of a show here tonight, man. We're proud of you. We love calling these races, and man, I hope to call another race here for you. I believe that speaks for the rest of us here, man. We love watching you here. Congratulations on a top 3, and maybe we'll talk to you in Victory Lane next time around.
Yeah, hopefully. I got to thank my mom and the rest of the pit crew as well. I forgot them. I knew I was forgetting somebody, but my mom and the rest of the pit crew, and thanks for all you guys do. This is awesome to be able to watch these.
Man, thank you for putting on one hell of a show. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the third place. It was Devin Marhefka, and I believe Kyle Young has caught up with Dylan Kopeck. We cannot be happy, Kyle.
Indeed, I have, Wes. Thank you down here with your second place finisher, Dylan Kopeck, tonight. Dylan sporting the 1995 Mike Stefanik Busch North paint scheme on his number 09 car. Dylan, a wild last lap, crashes all around you. You survived them enough to get yourself an opportunity to win, but you just came that short. Take us through that.
Yeah, well, I ran around the back most of the night, kind of just rode around, avoided the wrecks. I knew there was going to be a couple towards the end. Had a pit stop mishap where I spun out on entry to pit road. Put me out last, and I just kind of chopped away through. And last couple laps, though, I just kind of rode. I was kind of going to accept 5th place. I felt like that was a pretty solid spot for the first race, and seeing the leaders wreck there, the finish was real good. A little upset about it, but it is what it is. It's only race 1, so I got plenty of tracks to go beat them at.
Dylan, when you're put in a position like that, the driver is using the apron to try to get around you, and he's clearly made position underneath of you. There's no way for you to block him. What do you think that you could have done differently to kind of kept him behind you and make the trip to victory lane yourself?
I mean, I was told just in black and white, don't go under the yellow line to pass. So when I seen Danny go down there, I figured I was okay. Gave him a little room when he was on the apron coming to the checkered. I probably shouldn't have, because I didn't want him to come up and wreck us both. But when I gave him that little bit of room, he just was able to get that nose on me. But it is what it is. I probably could have just held the bottom a little harder. He definitely had a bigger run than me, so it was just hanging on.
Well, Dylan, we can definitely hear the disappointment in your voice, but either way, it was a great start to your season. Who would you like to thank for your second place run?
I like to thank everybody at NEP, Kyle, Zane, Jeff Brown made my design, the Mike Stefanik car. He did a great job doing it. It's almost spot on to his original car. I'd like to thank you guys, Vidane TV, the Shift Marketing, and all the guys that kind of came together and sponsored these races so we could get them live. That's pretty cool, and everybody watching.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Second place finisher Dylan Kopech, driver out of Palmer, Massachusetts, a tour-type modified driver in real life, able to find success here on the Super Speedway at Daytona to kick off the New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series Season 2 for tonight's event. Now, I believe we've got Wes back in victory lane to go chit-chat with the race winner, the 2006 NASCAR Xfinity Series Rookie of the Year, Danny O'Quinn Jr.
Danny O'Quinn bringing home the win week 1 here at Daytona, but not without some controversy. Danny, walk us through turn 4 there, man. Your mindset, what was going through your mind as you dipped underneath the double yellow line?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Obviously, you see it on TV all the time and things, but it's really hard, especially on here if you don't have like 3 screens to see how clear you are on somebody. But everybody just started wrecking there in the middle of 3 and 4, and we're coming to the checker. Everybody's got their foot in it. I try to get up under him, and I got my nose barely up under it. I saw he was coming down some, so we decided to just stay in it there and ease down with him. And then, of course, when I got beside him, I couldn't tell if I had room to get back up or not. But at that point, we're pretty much committed and just race it to the line.
Danny, I don't know if you knew, and this is kind of our job to know this stuff. You were 8th when it comes to coming to take the white flag. I believe you were 8th, riding that bottom line. Your strategy there, was it just to hold the bottom and just hope for the best finish, or what exactly was your strategy coming to the white flag there? Because it seems like as they wrecked, you just kind of held your line. It was a process of elimination for you.
Yeah, I think I've run quite a few of the speedway race. Actually, me and Charles get on here and run a lot, and this was a little different where the bumpers didn't line up, you couldn't push each other, so I think I rode 16th for most of the race there, and it was just I found that it seemed like the best way for me to miss wrecks was just stay in the bottom line and just stay tucked up, and I was pretty much committed to hopefully finishing 3rd or 4th, if that line rolled, but I never thought I would have won it, and so I'm thankful for that.
Man, just watching that battle, I'll tell you what. There's a couple of things we got to watch there as well. But it seems like the 46. I'm not exactly sure we were watching that 46 to decide to wreck into everybody for some reason. He was right on the outside of you, but it's just like the smoke cleared, and your default paint scheme was the 02 of that Cole Trickle paint scheme, and you were a lot like Cole Trickle fighting through that, just driving through the smoke. And man, you one hell of a job. Anybody you would like to thank now that you're here in victory lane? Any shout outs?
Yeah, I just want to thank Corey and everybody at Shift for putting this on. This is an awesome series. We've had some excellent racing the last couple of seasons, and I tell you, I hope it keeps going good, man. We have a lot of fun. It's real racing. A bunch of guys that really have racing experience, and it's just like being out there in the real thing. But I just got to thank those guys. Give them a shout out. Check out Shift Marketing if anybody needs any of that. They're really making this a great series.
All right, man. Again, congratulations on tonight's win. And man, we hope to talk to you again in victory lane, probably hopefully with a little less controversy.
That sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was your winner, Danny O'Quinn, bringing it home here at the inaugural race of the season at Daytona International Speedway. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to throw it off to Paul. And Paul's going to get us wrapped up and let you know what's going on. So, take a quick breather here, and then we're going to kick it to the Paul Strickland Jr. when we come back right here at Vidane TV.
Speed 51's video network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We will take you behind the scenes.
He's just a meathead.
Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, historic races, and thousands of on-demand videos. The Speed 51 Network, short track racers' home for the greatest video coverage.
The secret is, it's quicker.
Chris Ferguson will take the chips home. He'll win it.
PFC Brakes. More championships than any other. From late models to modifieds on pavement and dirt. With at-track service like no other. Success means no compromises.
A fifth win of the year for Ty Majeski. He'll take it.
Lighter, stiffer, cooler, quicker. PFC Brakes. The secret is, it's quicker.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here at the Daytona International Speedway, the World Center of Racing, as we just wrapped up 50 laps at Daytona with the NEP Series, sponsored by Shift. And we are here with race director Sal. A little bit of a controversial finish. That's what Daytona is known for. And once again, it did not fail. Sal, we just saw the winner cross the start-finish line, the leader, but underneath the double yellow line, but was still awarded the win. If you could kind of walk us through that call.
Yeah, not a problem. Still, what a great finish, a great race. It's really nice to be a part of this. And so I looked at it over and over and over, and it was really, really close. But it looked as if there was a lane on the bottom that he left open. He tried to shoot for it. And basically, if he doesn't go below the yellow line, they're both getting taken out, and then it's going to be even a bigger mess. So in my judgment, I believe that he was forced down. So that's why it stood the way it did.
All right. So you're going with the rule that he was forced underneath the yellow. And because of that, he had no choice. When he went down to the yellow, that made it fair game for him. Correct?
Pretty much. That's kind of how I see it. It was definitely close. I watched it a bunch of times from every angle and every frame that it would let me, but that's how I saw it.
All right. You know what? We had some viewers that wanted some clarification. There you got it from the man that makes the call. Sal, I retired from being a race director because of calls like that. Better you than me, man. But you guys put on one heck of a show. What a heck of a race as well.
Yeah, these guys didn't disappoint. I mean, even last week they did a little practice race just to see how Daytona was going to go, and it was just as exciting and very similar ending. A lot of cars going every which way. They all want that win really bad. So these guys work hard, and it put us on a good show.
All right, Sal. Hey, you know what? While we got you here, any thank yous you want to give out or some hellos?
I'm just thankful that the league has allowed me to do this. I had a lot of fun. It's something I want to do, and I look forward to doing more. Hopefully you don't need me in the booth as much because it's a lot more clear cut, but anytime I'll be here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And thank you so much for your word and how you were able to call that. And again, man, congratulations on a great inaugural race of the season. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Sal. He was the race director for this. So we're going to wrap things up here. Kyle, myself, and Dave. Kyle, one heck of a race. But we're gonna throw this to Paul real quick. Paul, we're back here at Vidane TV. It's been several months. I'm somehow sober, and we just watched 50 laps at Daytona with an ending you couldn't script, buddy. You can't help but be back as well.
Man. Oh, man, we're going to have to grab us some ice-cold wobbly pops, as our friends from north of the wall like to say. Mike James, Tim Terry, Dan, Dylan Langell, all those guys from Tim's Corner Motorsports. We miss those guys, having those guys on Vidane TV. But they're going to be back this winter, just like these guys are back here. The New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Series, sponsored by Shift Marketing and Design. These guys never disappoint. It's always an absolute pleasure to work with these guys. And man, oh man, this is race number 1, and we've got every single race here with this series on tap for Vidane TV, so you do not want to miss it. Definitely check out Vidane.net for the broadcast schedule. You can get all that. We're going to throw the upcoming events here on your screen as we've inked the deals out. You can see a whole lot of the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing series on your schedule. Everything, a couple of Thursday night races, a couple of Monday night races, and we've got the holiday weeks off, which is pretty exciting. And there you see at the bottom of the screen, Tim's Corner Motorsports. He booked himself a week, November 16th through 20th. We're going to be doing some pretty cool stuff. Lots of qualifying races, heat races, a couple of double headers that Thursday night of that week, the week before Thanksgiving here in the United States of America. Greatest country on earth. If you didn't know, now you know. But man, great race here tonight. It's kicking off our fall-winter series here at Vidane TV. Man, it's kicking off for the NEPS guys, the Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series. Great race, great start to the season. And you know what? It's not the end of it. We've got so much stuff going on at Vidane TV. We're in talks with the East Coast Winter League, Dylan Kopech's league. They're finalizing their schedule. They're going to be joining us. Tim's Corner Motorsports, they're going to be joining us, and they're already going to have snow on the ground before we do down here in the United States, especially in you, Wes. You're still dealing with hurricane season down there in Florida, but man, we got a lot of stuff going on here at Vidane TV. We've got a lot of stuff going on with Vidane Racing. Anybody out there that likes some super speedways, you might want to leave Saturday nights open, and you might want to pay attention to the Vidane TV Facebook page, because we got some major announcements coming here in the next week or so. But I am Showtime Paul Strickland Jr. Man, we had a great race here tonight with the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Series, sponsored by Shift Marketing and Design. For myself, Paul Showtime Strickland Jr., for Wes Rowdy Hogue, for Kyle Boom Boom Young, and Dave. Well, we don't have a nickname for Dave Menifee yet, but we'll work on that for next week. Thank you guys so much for showing up. We hope this broadcast made it to you in good health, and if it didn't, well, we hope you get better real soon. From Vidane Racing, it's been Showtime. And now, it's time to turn off the lights and pack up the trailer. We'll see you guys next week here on Vidane TV for the Phoenix 55.